What's up, gamers? Hi, Helldivers, and hello, Internet. The February 8th, 2024 release of Helldivers 2, developed by Arrowhead Games Studios and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment, has been outstandingly well received by the gaming community. So well, in fact, that initial player population exceeded server limits, leaving many Helldivers unable to log in or experiencing crashes from the massive player spikes seeking to spread managed democracy. According to Steam charts, player population peaked at more than 458,000 on February 28th and has since vacillated near 275,000 since launch, earning Helldivers 2 a top 3 ranking as of this upload. However, no game launches perfectly, and various bugs, no pun intended, and crashes have plagued gameplay. The devs at Arrowhead quickly released fixes and several updates have followed, which have vastly improved the game's stability as well as overall quality of life. New players and launch veterans can agree that continuous updates and transparency from the devs has had a positive impact on the player base. Communication, specifically from CEO at Arrowhead and Helldivers 2 creative director Johan Pilestead, has been refreshing and even more so amusing in an otherwise vanilla public relations industry. So, should you play? What can one expect from Helldivers 2 while spreading freedom and managed democracy across the galaxy? Is it a fun experience, or is liberty overrated? Let's discuss. Helldivers 2 is an action online co-op third-person PvE shooter available on PC and PlayStation 5. It's also the sequel to Helldivers, a top-down shooter released in 2015, also developed by Arrowhead Studios and published by Sony. Sorry, Xbox exclusive players, you are out. Sony owns the IP and does not want rival consoles to have access. However, considering the positive reviews and more than 3 million units sold after release, it's possible Sony could loosen its reins and work out a profitable licensing deal down the road. Not receiving blessings from the full trinity of online gaming platforms, PC, PlayStation, and Xbox, undoubtedly alienates a considerable player base and indeed falls short of promoting liberty inside the gaming community.
Have a glass of liberty, unless you're on Xbox.
This is indeed a demerit to the status of Super Earth's Army of Freedom. Yet, those super citizens who can log in and report for helldiving duty are in for a unique experience. FYI, you will receive extensive training and debriefing prior to your first mission. Any information to the contrary will be considered treason. For real though, you're thrown right into the fire. Players are given a basic armor set and weapon loadout consisting of a primary, secondary, and grenade, as well as access to 2 default stratagems. Stratagems are an essential component when playing Helldivers 2. They are unlockable weapons, utility, and attack options selected by Helldivers prior to each mission. Accessed from your ship's management systems, there are a total of 46 stratagems split into 6 different categories: Patriotic Administration Center, Orbital Cannons, Hangar, Bridge, and Engineering Stratagems, and Robotics Workshop. I cannot stress how crucial stratagems are to effectively deal with enemies and complete objectives, while also supporting your individual playstyle and/or team composition. Overall, your first missions are definitely on-the-job training, and the tooltips in the game are basic. You have a gun, you earned your cape, now go spread freedom and democracy. Setting options inside Helldivers 2 are great, and the UI is straightforward, customized to your preferences. Pro tip, mouse and keyboard players should immediately assign their stratagem inputs to the directional keys. The default WASD key assignment limits in-game movement. Trust me, it's a quality of life game changer. Most new players will feel compelled to initially dive solo before squad play. Fair enough. getting a feel for the game's mechanics and UI are best served when not distracted. However, the rate at which you acquire XP and rewards is much faster in squad play. That is, focused and well-communicated squad play, but more on that later. Again, your gear and stratagem options are extremely limited at first, but after a few missions, enough experience, medals, requisition slips, samples, and super credits are earned to expand your arsenal. This is the early game loop, successfully completing operations and acquiring the resources to level up accordingly. No big secret here. By level 10, you should have a base understanding of the game's core mechanics and access to enough weapon, armor, and stratagem options to easily maneuver through the content, specifically the first 3 levels of difficulty. At level 20, players can unlock all stratagems with the resources required and become more prepared and adept when loading into higher difficulty levels. Note, level 25 is required to unlock the mech stratagem introduced post-launch in March. Unlocking higher difficulties in Helldivers 2 simply requires you to successfully complete a full operation on the previous difficulty. There are 9 levels of difficulty: trivial, easy, medium, challenging, hard, extreme, suicide mission, impossible, and Helldiver. The difference between difficulty settings is that harder missions give stronger enemies and bigger enemy outposts to conquer, but also more rewards. It's at the higher difficulties where focused and well-communicated squad play is vital. It's also within the same breath of referring to squad play that brings to light the next major issue inside Helldivers 2, matchmaking. Matchmaking in Helldivers 2 is really hit or miss, unfortunately leaning towards the latter. A quick play option is available at the war table inside your command starship destroyer. Once selected, a squad is easily formed, but it's a gambit. Player levels often do not match, and the majority do not have or choose not to use a microphone. There are in-game tools to communicate, such as audio cues to prompt like affirmative or follow me, as well as map pinning and hub objective instructions. However, the benefit of using a microphone far outweighs any of these no voice comm alternatives, especially when considering Helldivers 2 is an objective-based MMO. More on that later. Players can also load into missions individually with their public matchmaking options selected and have others board their command ship to join, or upon dropping into a mission, an SOS beacon can be used to invite and entice random players. You may also see missions in progress on the map and join on other players' pings. Alternatively, you may opt to have friends only selected to ensure private matchmaking inside your friends list or when pinging with an SOS beacon. Friends only setting allows you to play solo, if your friends don't drop in, without being joined by a random player. Indeed, matchmaking is where a second and perhaps the most significant demerit can be levied on Helldivers 2. Plainly said, it's horrible. Ideally, the game is best played with friends and clear comms. No question. This is true with any co-op MMO. But when tossed into the conundrum coin flip of quick play, or left to fight alone for 40 minutes while your SOS beacon listlessly pings into the void, the player experience is adversely affected. This is compounded even further when first venturing into the mid-game difficulty levels or seeking to optimize team compositions publicly in late-game dives. Not to mention the high frequency of team kicks when underlevel or non-meta equipped Helldivers finally end up on a squad, specifically at the higher difficulty late game levels of 7 through 9. There's also no LFG or looking for group functionality either in-game or via the Arrowhead website. This is an absolute must and would effectively administer what, where, and how players can squad up based on their preferences. The devs have stated LFG, implementation, and lobby kicking are all under review. I just hope significant measures are taken sooner than later to alleviate these community concerns. In the interim, players can join the official Helldivers Discord to formally find a squad that meets your expectations. I also encourage you to join the Sloop Gaming Discord as well. We offer a friendly and fun environment to not only discuss and LFG for Helldivers 2, but other games as well. Link in description. The story of Helldivers 2 is simple, set a century after the triumph of Super Earth over the enemies of cyborgs, Terminids, and the Illuminate. New threats have now surfaced. The Terminids, or insect-like aliens, since contained and farmed on colonized worlds to extract a valuable resource from their decomposed body, E710, have now broken free and are wiping out their human oppressors. Meanwhile, a robotic faction labeled as the AUTOMATONS has risen in great numbers, also threatening humanity. Whether the AUTOMATONS are directly connected to the cyborgs of the past is unknown, as are the whereabouts of the defeated Illuminate. Helldivers 2 lore is also drip-fed through brief interacts found while exploring, major order debriefs, loading screen tips, and the occasional TV message received inside your command ship.
All citizens are equal in the eyes of freedom, which is why Super Earth's most patriotic minds instituted the citizenship classification structure. Thanks to the CCS, we can determine exactly which citizens are the most equal. Continue your war efforts, and one day you too could reach Class A citizenship. The CCS. Liberty optimized.
If you haven't put the pieces together yet this far into the video, then let me share a secret with you. Starship Troopers. The devs at Arrowhead acknowledged this cult classic piece of science fiction was the inspiration behind their game. Originally, a novel written by Robert A. Heinlein in 1959, however, most fans will recognize and point towards the movie adaptation released in 1997. Would you like to know more? Above it all, the actual gameplay of Helldivers 2 is remarkable. There is no campaign mission to be played when you begin. Instead, a brief boot camp tutorial is loaded and completed in the blink of an eye. Next, you're standing on the bridge of your own command ship, ready to engage the enemy. Fun fact, you can also customize the name of your ship as routinely as you would like. Naming options are from an extensive list and align perfectly with the Super Earth's nomenclature and the propaganda war machine of the Federation. After equipping your gear and selecting an operation from the war table holographic map, it's time to enter your Hellpod and dive. The process of mission selection and diving is immersive. You can opt where to drop and plan out a strategy. Planetary weather conditions also play a factor. The loading screen is also a very cool build-up to the action below. Once boots are on the ground, minimap pull-ups are user-friendly and offer a detailed topographical view of the terrain, very helpful in not only seeing where to go, but the best path to choose. Each planetary environment is unique and offers incredible skyboxes, but terrain design and effects are as fantastic to admire as they are hazardous to overcome. The ravages of warfare are everywhere, from abandoned or destroyed colony locations to downed Federation ships or enemies. There is no doubt you are embedded to this galactic war, and hostiles are everywhere. It's at this moment, when first experiencing Helldivers 2, one word shall resonate throughout each session: unrelenting. Unrelenting are the Terminids and automaton patrols you encounter, as they are not easily defeated, especially when you are first getting acclimated, and even more so as you increase in difficulty level. Unrelenting is the overall AI of enemy patrol movement and spawn rates, whether location generated or from low-rank enemies calling in reinforcements. Unrelenting are the planetary hazards such as climate conditions, meteor showers, and flora traps. Unrelenting are alerted enemy strongholds or elite enemies locked on your position. Unrelenting is the potential for such enemy density and aggro that a few or even one mistake could have disastrous consequences for your squad completing the objective. As you can see, these are just a few ways to describe Helldivers 2 as unrelenting. Solo divers and squads are ill-advised to roam randomly, just blasting enemies. It's very easy to become overwhelmed by your enemies, and standing in one place for too long could exasperate into a dire situation. Low-ranking units will always call in reinforcements. Once your stratagems are on cooldown, or you're low or out of ammo, the sheer numbers of enemies approaching can wreak havoc, and you guessed it, become unrelenting. Again, this is war, and you have orders to follow. Successful dives are impacted by a rewarded hierarchy, with main and optional objectives earning higher experience and requisition credits, followed by Helldivers extracted, outposts destroyed, and mission time remaining. Experienced teams can split up to cover more ground and explore, but often sticking together is the safe play to efficiently overcome any obstacle. After all, collecting as many resources as possible during missions is your focus to gain more access to the Helldivers arsenal. This is indeed a grind, as early game options are limited, but like any MMO, playing consistently will eventually unlock all gear. Gear is most notably claimed via the Helldivers Mobilize Warbond and Steeled Veteran Warbond directories, as well as inside the Superstore. Medal accumulation for missions will allow players to select armor, weapons, emotes, and boosters. Each purchase will contribute to total medals spent to unlock even more options on subsequent pages. What's especially nice about the Helldivers Warbond system is how there is no FOMO, or fear of missing out. Arrowhead devs stated all future additions to Warbond menus will not push out older content. In other words, there is no clock to be considered when working towards earning enough medals to purchase an item from the Mobilize or Steeled Veteran menus, in addition to any other new menus that'll appear in-game. However, the Superstore, Helldivers 2 only source of microtransactions, does refresh every 48 hours at 5 AM EDT. As mentioned earlier, super credits can be collected from points of interest located throughout the map during missions. Sometimes caches of 100 credits can even be found. Would you like to know more? It's important to note here as well how the Superstore offers no pay to win, which is a phrase directly associated with microtransactions. As of this upload, the Superstore does not offer weapons and only offers armor, which for the most part is as statistically viable as anything offered via Warbonds. Superstore armor does have a unique cosmetic, FYI for you aspiring helldiving drip artists out there. But more on that later. Here's a quick breakdown of how much real money is needed to acquire super credit bundles listed in-game in US dollars. Helldivers 2 armor and weapons aren't the typical vices most shooters force upon players. Again, gear options are limited, especially in the early game. Primary and secondary weapons serve to complement your stratagem selections, with armor matching your playstyle and/or planetary location. Stratagems are indeed the key focus of players and should always be weighed first before loading into a mission. Primary and secondary weapons, despite having few options, do have some hidden perks players can option. The ability to select and toggle between third and first person point of view, change scope magnification, turn barrel lights on or off or on auto, or switch between auto and semi-auto rate of fire. These options are great and reflect how well Arrowhead devs perceived players' customization needs in weapons. However, Helldivers 2 desperately needs more guns. Options and/or flexibility inside the secondary weapon slot are also needed. Weapon stat displays are also basic. Damage, capacity, recoil, and fire rate stat listings make sense at first glance, and weapon traits provide more insight. However, players are left wanting to know more. More guns and more traits or perks will undoubtedly come in time, but for now, most Helldivers will be left wanting more from their primary and secondary options. Overall, gunplay feels great, and it's very satisfying. In fact, your Helldivers audio cues will let you know exactly how much fun you're having at any given moment. The synergy of your weapons and stratagems to overcome enemies and objectives is truly special and visually stunning and dynamic when everything is exploding and going to hell all around you. Helldivers 2 armor offers a variety of perks and are available in light, medium, or heavy. However, only body armor holds specific passives, or perks that allow your Helldiver to do an extra thing. Helmets and capes are purely cosmetic. Note, although helmets and capes do list the attributes for armor rating, speed, and stamina regen, they are all universally the same with no added benefits. Armor ratings were initially bugged in-game for weeks until a March patch. However, despite the fix, deciding which armor is best to use, given its stats and passives, is a bit underwhelming. The UI allows for gear comparison, but the stat displays need refinement. Players can easily see what's different, but the realized benefits of equipping light, medium, or heavy is primarily felt from the speed and stamina effects, and not so much from the armor rating. Helldivers 2 also falls short in cosmetic customization. While there are nuances to different armor, helmet, and cape options, that's it. Players cannot use shaders or skins on any gear. They don't exist, and even the offerings from the Superstore are far from haute couture. The devs have stated they are listening to feedback regarding cosmetic features, yet not having more variety, or at the very least some functionality at launch, is disappointing. So, should you play, or is Liberty overrated? The sheer number of active players since launch speaks loudly to the quality of the Helldivers 2 experience. However, Arrowhead Games Studios says it best. A game for everyone is a game for no one. If you're looking for a game that showers you with loot, is easy to play, offers a wide variety of customizations, and is helpful with its new player experience, then no, you shouldn't even bother. However, if you can push aside matchmaking woes, persevere unrelenting foes, seek immersion into an eclectic sci-fi galactic war, and enjoy co-op team-based gameplay, then yes, join the Helldivers and serve out some sweet liberty! Overall, Helldivers 2 is visually engaging with satisfying space warfare immersion and is very fun to play. It's a great change of pace from other titles inside the same genre. The Starship Troopers vibe is always in your face and will have you laughing as much as you use copium. Further, co-op team strategy and unique tactical options separates Helldivers 2 from the traditional MMO shooter. If you've the game time to invest and patience to withstand the growing pains of a progressive live service IP, then by all means, dive in. Please note, any negative review of Helldivers 2 will be considered treason and immediately reported to Federation Command. Violators will be sent to the Ministry of Truth for re-education or will otherwise be terminated. Thank you for your service in defending freedom and spreading managed democracy. Super Citizen Sloop, over and out. Thank you for watching. Likes and shares are kindly appreciated, and subscribe for more content. Peace.